Hi everyone, it's Amanda. I'm just laying here with my man Seamus, who's recovering rather nicely. Say hi, Shame. Anyways, I wanted to share a little something about myself that a lot of you don't know if you're only just reconnecting with me now or I'm just meeting you now, but it's one of the reasons why I'm convinced that my current situation is really just placed in my path by God and the universe to teach me a lot of lessons about life and love and adversity and hope and all these things that I otherwise wouldn't possibly have been able to learn without, this new set of obstacles. So, in the year 2000, I actually went to Chile to study in South America. And when I was there, as my luck would have it, I would say probably, I feel like it was the next day, but people from my study group could probably chime in. Sometime within the first couple days that we were there, it started raining really badly. And they ended up actually having the worst flooding in over 50 years. So like all the shots and stuff that you would regularly get for that type of climate, none of us got. So my study abroad group, most of the group was sick the entire time we were there. They were going in the middle of the night to the ER and stuff, and I rarely dodged bullets, and for whatever reason, I just never really got sick. And until the day we were actually leaving the country and we're headed to the airport, I started, people always say when they go to other countries, they always come back and they're like, oh my God, I totally feel like I caught something and I'm like totally freaked out. I think I have something really bad. And I am just like, listen, if you get something bad, believe me, you're gonna know you have something really bad. So on the way to the airport, I've always been super paranoid of getting pink eye. And thank God, knock on wood, oh God, there's no wood. I've never gotten it, but something was going on with my eye, and I'm like, OMG, I think I have pink eye. Well, so on the way to the airport, which, by the way, we were flying through the night, it's like, the flight was so long, and I keep going like this, and there's just something going on with my eye that's just not normal, and my friends in my group are like, what's going on with your eye? It looks really bad. All of a sudden, something starts happening in my other eye. So I pretend like I'm fine, and then we're on the plane flying through the night, and my eyes literally just started dripping. This is really disgusting, by the way. And my friend said it literally looked like somebody was repeatedly cracking eggs over my eyes. It was just dripping down my face. So, needless to say, my wonderful friend Christine and my other friend Claudia were so amazing, and they actually kept taking me because everyone was asleep. It was terrifying because my eyes would literally crust shut and I could just feel stuff dripping off my face. And I can't see anything, obviously, and it's dark to begin with, and I just start panicking. So anyways, to make a long story short, my friends would take me every 20 minutes to the bathroom to help me clean my eyes. So when we got to Miami, they didn't want to let me into the country because obviously I had something really wrong with me. And actually, I've never felt as disgusting, I don't think, in my entire life as I did arriving in Miami airport, because it's like supermodel central, everybody's coming from exotic vacations and just look so lifestyles of the rich and famous, and here I am, which, by the way, I'd been partying in college leading up to this trip. So I already was had a sausage body. Then it was wintertime down there, so it was just extremely pale. Plus, I have some type of exotic tropical disease, and I'm just completely atrocious. My friends were telling me, whatever you do, don't look in the mirror, when I was cleaning my eyes in the bathroom, and I made the mistake of looking in the mirror, and I looked the way you would expect someone would look if they had some type of exotic disease. So, anyways, oh my gosh, this is so long. So, the point is, my professor had connections and convinced them to let me fly to New York, where my parents would bring me to a hospital immediately. So I get to the hospital and they misdiagnosed me because we were actually the first ones to have left Chile and there was no outbreak yet of whatever it was that a bunch of us had contracted. So I tried to inform the doctors, I was coming from this country where we found out that we were drinking contaminated water and all these other things, and nothing. They just told me I had a million different things wrong with me. Well, unbeknownst to me, I had full-blown typhoid fever. And so I already had plans to go to Mexico, where I ended up being there for a couple of years, but, my trip was probably like a month and a half later, so for that trip, actually, I had to get a typhoid shot. So I was sick for like 2 weeks, really, really sick, and then apparently my body pushed this illness dormant into my system. So I thought I was fine. And I end up going to Mexico. And I'm wandering around Mayan villages and, hanging out in cardboard shacks and stuff like that, and have no idea I have this illness inside of me, and I ended up picking everything up in my path. I swallowed cenote, which is an underground spring. When my friend dunked me one time when we were swimming in these underground springs, and I got really, really sick because I drank some water, and, sorry, I looked at the time. Oh my god, this is really long. So, the point is that I got really, really sick. So, I got my blood tested, and I came back positive for typhoid fever, but my bosses were like, there's absolutely no way you have typhoid fever because there's no typhoid in Yucatan right now. There's absolutely no typhoid. No way you have it. So they made me pay over $100 to get my blood tested again. So I go and get my blood tested again. I never actually saw the results. They just told me, oh, no, you don't have typhoid. It came back fine. So now I can't remember exactly. I'm pretty sure I got 1 day off of work. So I just felt so run down. Oh man, I felt so bad. But I thought I was feeling bad because I was in this new climate and it was extreme and we were like going out at night and then waking up really early in the morning to go running before we had to start everything at like 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning. So, and because, it was so hot and everything was different. So I'm thinking, I am a big little pussy that I can't adapt to this climate. Like, what's wrong with me? So I just felt so run down. And I came home for Christmas and got my wisdom teeth pulled. So I guess your wisdom teeth are attached to your sinus, and if you sign a little waiver that says basically if there's something in your system and it comes out because of the surgery, it's not our fault. So I got my wisdom teeth pulled, and lo and behold, I ended up going from the oral surgeon's office to the ER because my face turned green and I was just really, really sick. And the doctors could not figure out what I had, and I ended up getting quarantined. I was at various hospitals in New York City in the tropical disease units. And here, you're trapped with people who have like Ebola and all these other things, and you're just like, oh my god, if I don't already have Ebola, I'm going to end up with Ebola. And it was terrifying. I mean, I was so sick every day, just vomiting throughout the day, and I was just totally isolated. I had been living my dream for a little while, and then all of a sudden I had to come home, and I couldn't hang out with my friends, and I was already kind of distant from a lot of people because I'd been outside the country and not really in good contact because I didn't have, constant access to internet and stuff like that. So it was a very terrifying experience, and, they're testing me for HIV and AIDS, and because leading up to my trip to Chile, I'd been in Ecuador working with people with leprosy, so I had been holding people who had been bleeding in my travels, and I could have easily had a cut on me and not known. So they were just testing me for all different things, and it was really, really terrifying, and really heartbreaking, too, to see all these other people that had come in from all over the world that were in these tropical disease units who were essentially dying, and they didn't even really know how to treat a lot of them. So I got to the point where I was like, it doesn't matter what I have. I just need to know what I have so that they can tell me how to treat it, because I can't go on living like this. And I met someone who was really sick and dying, and she told me that what I always do when I feel my worst is I put on a nice dress. And if I can't put on makeup myself, I'll have my mom or my sister put on makeup, and I convince myself that I'm going out and it's going to be a great night. So she said that always worked really well. So I think people thought I was smoking wacky tobacco because I was like really, really sick, and all of a sudden they come over and I'm like, you know, this is when I wasn't quarantined anymore, and I'm just like in this prom dress with like big 80s makeup. But anyways, so finally I found out that I had a combination of, started with typhoid fever, and I ended up picking up all of these things. My immune system was so low. I ended up with malaria, dengue fever, cat scratch fever, which I actually got in my right hand. I remember the sick cat that scratched me. I also had myiasis because a bug bit me right here and actually laid its egg sac underneath my skin. Oh my god. So I was like, that was actually pretty disgusting. But luckily it didn't hatch yet, and when I was at Mount Sinai, they, pretty much cleaned it out for me. Let's see what else. Oh, I also had dengue fever, which is the cousin of malaria. I had a lot of things, and the doctors were like, it is unbelievable that you could have so many different things in your system, and not only are you alive, but you, I had to say goodnight to my dad. Good night, Dad!
Reach in the old duck bag, Mandy.
Thank you! He's just wishing me luck for my race on Sunday. Anyways, okay, so, the point is that I was so super sick, and the doctors couldn't believe that I was still standing, and that my body was able to hold on to all these different illnesses, and that I didn't die. And I kind of felt like, when I finally got my clean bill of health, I bought my plane ticket back to Mexico, and being that sick, I was sick in total for a year. I had to take off everything. And I bought my plane ticket right back down to Mexico, and went back to Mexico, and I never got sick again, A. B, being that sick made me completely reevaluate how I treated my body and my health and my fitness. And also, I just gained this new appreciation and admiration for people with long-term illness and what it must be like to be faced with something and you have no idea if you're dying or what's happening to you. And, it was very bizarre because I was so sick for so long. Not so long, only a year, but I was so sick, and then all of a sudden, seemingly from one day to the next, I get this clean bill of health, and I was fine. I never had any repercussions. I get my blood tested every month. I was actually able to donate blood again for the first time right before my accident. And, so, oh my god, this is so long. The point is that I actually, looking back at that year, I felt like it would never end. And I felt just like my life, not like it was ending. At times I didn't know if I was dying, but I just felt like, okay, well, everybody else is out living their lives, and why did this have to happen to me? Like, well, what's wrong? How come I'm the only one this is happening to? And then I realized I've learned so many lessons, and when I stepped out of that, and I was able to go back to Mexico and, work in the shelter and do all these things, I had this newfound fire inside of me. There was, no stopping me. I was setting up programs left and right, and, just so motivated and so focused. And I felt like every day I was realizing that I learned new lessons. And I feel like I'm still learning lessons from that year that I was sick. And just to prove that I never really got sick again, I was in floodwaters of Hurricane Katrina. And I was the only person I know that had been in those floodwaters that was in our Coliseum. I mean, people in our Coliseum literally had clunks of their hair. Like, their hair was falling out. People were so sick from whatever was in that water. I never got sick. And the point is that now, with this new situation, I just kind of feel like it's an extended version of what happened last time. But last time I realized I'm way more than my body. I am a soul having a human experience as opposed to a human having a spiritual experience. So now I have this new situation, and it's weird because all of a sudden I'm back, same area, and here I am, and I'm presented with this new bizarre set of circumstances, and that's why I don't get too stressed out over it, because I know, who knows, maybe it'll be 30 years, maybe it'll be 3 years, who knows how long it will take, but I know I'm eventually going to be fine, and I know the point is for me to learn all these new lessons, meet all these phenomenal new people in this community, and I don't know, just allow this to steer me into something new. So, I don't know, I kind of feel like that's the whole point of life. I feel like life is seriously like a graduate school for our souls, and we're presented with all these different circumstances and obstacles, and ultimately everybody's pain is the same. So, just because someone seems, people get locked into their problems and they think they're the only ones that have bad stuff going on, and the truth is everybody has bad stuff going on. Just because someone might be doing well this year, you don't know what happened 5 years ago or 10 years ago, or you don't know what's going to happen to them 5 or 10 years from now. So don't ever compare yourself to someone else, and just know that ultimately all of our pain is the same, and that should unite us. And also know that in the most trying times of our lives, we're supposed to be learning. And so I'm trying to keep my mind and my heart open to all these different experiences, and hopefully you will too. This is 16 minutes long. Holy moly. And it probably won't let me upload to Facebook, but I'm going to try. Okay, I'm going to say Malamar is my key word because I've been obsessed with them lately. And let's see if anybody actually listened to this entire thing. If you're a male, I might have your children. I don't know if you want me to have your children, but I might give you my child. Or just send you anyone who listens to this. I might do something special for you. I don't know what yet. Okay. Happy weekend. Bye.